Ferdinand Ekeoma, Special Advisor on Media and Publicity to Abia State Governor Dr. Alex Otti, recently appeared on TVC News to discuss key political and governance issues. In the interview, Ekeoma addressed the Supreme Court's judgment affirming President Bola Tinubu's election, emphasizing the importance of respecting judicial decisions and the need for national post-election. He also highlighted the Otti administration's commitment to transparency, infrastructural development, and public sector reforms in Abia State. Ekeoma underscored efforts to improve governance and service delivery, aiming to rebuild public trust and stimulate economic growth. The interview provided insights into the administration's strategies for fostering development and maintaining political stability in the region. Watch the interview to the end and leave your comments in the comment section. Thanks for watching.
We're turning attention, of course, to happenings in Abia State, and we're asking critical questions. Is it true that the Abia State Governor Alex Otti is conducting state business from his private residence? Is it true that his administration has expended over 10 billion naira of state resources on maintaining the governor's private residence, which is more than 50 kilometers away from Umuahia, the state capital? Special Advisor to Governor Alex Otti on Media and Publicity, Ferdinand Ekeoma, joins me on the program for a right of reply to these allegations and more made by Eze Chikanayo, who is Commissioner for Information to former Governor Okeze Ikpeazu. Mr. Ekeoma, welcome to the program.
Thank you, my sister. Thank you for having me on the show.
All right, as we start off the conversation, let me play this interview, which was extracted from the Monday edition of this program, Beyond the Headlines, when the Commissioner for Information under the administration of Governor Okeze Ikpeazu made some weighty allegations against Governor Alex Otti.
As we speak, Governor Otti has drawn over 10 billion, please, 10 billion, I'm not talking about 10 million. He has taken 10 billion out of Abia State taxpayers' money to service his personal house, 54.6 kilometers away from Umuahia at Mvosi. Listen, I said over 10 billion naira, and I repeat, over 10 billion naira of Abia State money has been drawn down according to the financial report published by Abia State government for the purpose of maintenance of government house, governor's office, governor's whatever. And as we speak, Governor Otti is the only governor in Nigeria that is living 54 kilometers away from the state capital at Mvosi and living in his personal house. All right. More than 3 new buildings constructed in his compound, and he's the one running executive council meeting, doing all of the government sensitive business in his private bedroom at Mvosi, in Isialangwa South, 54.4 kilometers away from Umuahia.
Mr. Ekeoma, what is your response and reaction to those allegations by Mr. Chikanayo?
Thank you once again, my sister, for having me. It will actually be very difficult. To really discuss this issue if you don't understand my elder brother there who appeared in that interview. I mean, Chief Eze Chikanayo. He's up to something. But first, let me say emphatically that the allegations are false, baseless, and very unfounded. I would have expected, or I had expected him, because he knew what he was coming to say. You know, it would have made sense if he came with any shred of evidence to substantiate those very laughable allegations, which he leveled against the government. The allegations are false. First, you all know our history in Abia State. We inherited a state that was in a state of decay and deterioration in many areas. Prior to the time the former government, or while they were about to hand over, the little properties that you had in government house were completely looted, and the facts are there. If you Google, you will see releases we issued when Governor Alex Otti was still the governor-elect, and we were shouting. They were, looting all kinds of items that were supposed to be used to run the state. Now, we assumed office. The governor started reconstructing dilapidated infrastructure. I honestly would not want to discuss the former governor, and we had tried to refrain from discussing him because government is a continuum. He has finished his tenure, has moved on. sadly, some of his appointees who had this penchant for using blackmail to attract attention, including Chief Eze Chikamnayo. So they started attacking us, and it's the attack, the lies, the blackmail that led to our responses to, the things they were saying. And now we are entering the season of politics. What Chief Eze Chikamnayo is doing is what he had done since 1999.
I hear you, Mr. Ekeoma.
The allegations are false and baseless, unfounded.
I hear you, but let's look at those issues critically. At the moment,
Yes.
Where does Governor Alex Otti conduct official business? At the government house or at his private residence at Ovozi?
Actually, at the government house, most of the activities take place in the government house. And sometimes he receives people where he lives. Your press, it is not private activities. Yes. The reason is simple, and we have said this.
Before we get to the reasons, when you talk about government house, are you talking about
Yes.
the one that the Commissioner for Information inspected and claimed was uninhabitable, and that the state government was going to put up and convert to a 5-star hotel?
Not at all. There is no government house there. And
So which government house are you talking about? Where is it located and what happens there?
It is located at Library Avenue. That is the original government house, which was in a state of decay. Even they that are talking abandoned the place. Most of them we are operating from their different houses and hotels.
So is that at Umuahia or where?
Umuahia. Library Avenue in Umuahia, which is our original government house. Okay? So the facts are there. You see all kinds of activities, inaugurations, and a lot of activities happen there. His problem is that the Governor Alex Otti is not living in that dilapidated building. And the governor says he cannot live there. That is the truth. We have started by recovering the key infrastructures there. If you go there, you will see the Okpara auditorium that was abandoned. It was in a state of decay, completely being rebuilt. If you go there, the SSG had no office.
Mr. Ekeoma, are you saying...
And I will share the pictures and the videos with you.
Yeah, we'll hope to get that. But just to be sure... Okay, just to be clear, are you saying that there are multiple government houses? How many government houses are there in Abia State? Name them, talk about their locations.
Okay. So let me take you down memory lane. One, we have a government house. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But the government house was in a state of decay. Yet, we still moved in, managing some of the structures that are available to operate. And since the governor assumed office, we have been reconstructing different structures, different buildings that make up the government house, the components. You know how government houses are built. Now, there was a government house, the one that Chikamnayo, the former Commissioner for Information, is talking about, and the one our Commissioner for Information took the media, the one you are showing at the moment. That is supposed to be our new government house. It was initiated by former Governor T.A. Okay? Now, when Governor Kesi Baso assumed office, he continued from where the former governor stopped. If you go there, there are only 2 structures. Okay, so what they actually built is governor's lodge, not government house, for Christ's sake. The pictures are there, the video, you are seeing everything there. There is no government house, but they claimed it's government house. They never stayed there for a day. They conducted what they called the State Executive Council a day before handover, 28 May 2023. There are 2 structures. Now, the issue, because I want you to clearly understand.
Yeah, Mr. Ekeoma, we'll get...
If we have any issues, excuse me, get me right, please.
Very quickly, 30 seconds, please.
Government is a continuum. It's not as if we have any problem, okay, completing the project. However, like I said, they built only 2 structures. Unfortunately, they sold all the lands around the place. Now people now build private houses, including high-rise buildings, which now breach the security of the place. This is a very beautiful location in Umuahia that was set aside by the government for the construction of government house.
All right, Mr. Ekeoma.
And that was why they never stayed there.
Mr. Ekeoma,
so
we'll have time.
Claim they built a government house.
So, Mr. Ekeoma, you have said that this new government house, with picture we showed earlier, is not, good enough for business. But in that interview on Monday, Mr. Chikamnayo mentions that your principal, the governor of Abia State, has actually within this less than 2 years built 2 extra structures in his private residence where he allegedly conducts private business. He conducts government business. He even went as far as mentioning that the governor, the president, just took threw a jab at him, mentioning that Governor Otti still runs government business from his private residence. What do you say about that?
Okay, so by the special grace of God, at the risk of sounding immodest, the governor has built himself and laid a foundation, got himself prepared before contesting for governor. Now, like I said, on assumption of office, we discovered that most of the principal officers of the government, including the SSG, the head of service, and many other appointees, didn't have offices. So the governor, who already has a beautiful palatial home, was he supposed to start building a government house that will take maybe 10 billion or 20 billion, the one they claim to have built? When you look at the figures mentioned, there is over 20 billion, yet it was never built. Now, would it have made any sense for the governor to have started building another government house? What the governor did was to begin to build this infrastructure. One, all the offices, the SSG, the political block, the deputy governor's office, and not the rest of them.
In which place?
The presidential, guest house. So the governor now stays in his own house.
So where has the governor been building?
Are conducted, more than 80% of the activities of the government are conducted in government house. So instead of putting burden on the states by beginning another government house, the governor decided to stay in his house.
But Mr. Ekeoma, very quickly,
in any way affected governance. You have to count one before counting two.
I hear you, Mr. Ekeoma, but allow me to quickly butt in.
Our priority is not government house. Okay, our priority is payment of arrears of salaries that ran into years.
I hear you.
Before we assumed office. Those are the things that matter.
Okay, I hear you, Mr. Ekeoma.
It's important. It's important. Excuse me, sorry, please. It's important. Let me tell you what is actually happening. And this is not because I'm sure you watched the interview. You saw the things, the lies he peddled against the governor, personal attacks and all those things. Anyway, we're not going to do that. But it is important to understand that my brother, Eze Chikamnayo, did not speak a single truth. And if you watch that interview critically, you will discover that your colleague was reminding him not less than 7 times that he was not answering his question. And it was intentional. He was shown the video, he was being shown the video of the so-called government house. And he was not interested because he wanted to lie, and they showed him the video. Okay? A colleague of yours from another TV station was there and saw the video, they saw everything. They were shocked. So it's a lie that they built a government house. This is how our brother, let me tell you what motivated.
Mr. Ekeoma, that is the same reason that I would like you to answer my question. Mr. Ekeoma, that's the same reason I would really like you to answer the question I'm posing to you. So is it true that the administration of Governor Otti has expended over 10 billion naira in running his private residence as government house and has actually used government funds to erect 2 new buildings at his private residence?
It's false. It's criminal to say that. It is criminal to say that. And that is why it is dangerous to hold such a person, because he has a dangerous antecedent and you can investigate this.
So how much?
False.
All right. So if you would put a figure to it, allow me land, please. So if you would put a figure to it, like how much has the state government expended between May 29, 2023 and now, managing the fact that Governor Otti is actually conducting government business outside Umuahia, a place that is considered to be more than 50 kilometers from the state capital where other arms of government are duly represented?
Okay, so lies shouldn't be the foundation for the question you asked me now. I've told you the truth, which is verifiable. Okay? And that is why I would also want you people to come here and run your own independent investigation. That is how you will now confirm the truth. However, there is what is called the governor's office. Okay? And governor's office, from what they structured and left behind, of course, we are trying to legally change some of the things. What is called office of the governor. There are MDAs that are domiciled in the office of the governor, because I heard him say, you can go to their website and check out what I'm saying. That was what he was saying. And so that when you go there and see office of the governor, you think I'm talking about the governor's office. For example, some MDAs that are domiciled in the office of the governor, Abia State Environmental Protection Agency, ASEPA. You have Abia State Orientation Agency. You have Abia State Road Safety Management Agency. You have many other MDAs, many other agencies and departments domiciled in the office of the governor. Now, today, let me give you an example. Abia, that used to be classified as one of the dirtiest states in the country. You can examine, you can rate states that the cleanest states in the country today, and Abia will not come 5th, at least. There's no way. Now, ASEPAM, I want you to get me clearly. Now, that Abia State Environmental Protection Agency, which is domiciled in the office of the governor, every kobo spent in waste management is captured under the office of the governor. They know these facts. They were the ones that structured that system that way, which is why we've gone to the Abia State House of Assembly to move these agencies, so that not when you see a report that says office of the governor, expenditures in the office of the governor, you will think that it is the governor's office. Okay, so those are the lies they are trying to use to deceive people. Because when you go to the financial report, you hear you see office of the governor, they run away with it, but that is not true.
I hear you, Mr. Ekeoma, but we really don't have a lot of time left. So let's look at some other angles to this. Billions of naira have obviously been expended on that building, which your team has categorized as uninhabitable. But we also know that, just like you mentioned, that former Governor Otti had that master plan of having a three-arm zone, just like you have in the state, in the nation's capital, where you have the legislature, you have the judiciary, and you have the executive arm. Yes. Have you considered the cost to the state now, having to move members of the state executive council over to wherever these meetings are taking place, which we hear is overseas, just like you've also, acceded to in the course of this interview, what cost that is to the residents of Abia State. And now your decision to convert this building to a five-star hotel, where you could perhaps simply furnish it to your taste and bring it up to standard.
Okay, so you really need to pay attention to my responses, please. I told you, it is not about furnishing. Okay, let me give you an example. I said, for example, there is a secretariat called Nnamdi Azikiwe Secretariat, Workers Secretariat in Umuahia. It was abandoned for over a decade. Workers were operating under the trees. You come to Abia and investigate what I'm saying. Interact with workers, don't take my word for it. Governor Alex Otti has completely rebuilt. It was collapsing, the structures were falling off, and it was abandoned for over a decade. Governor Alex Otti has come, rebuilt the place, and retrofitted it. It's the beauty to behold. You have the appointees office block. Most of the appointees, of course, they had over 1,000 special assistants and advisors. Most of them didn't have offices. Now, Governor Alex Otti has rebuilt and retrofitted the place. Now you have the Michael Okpara Auditorium, and there are many. I just don't want to waste your time reading out all this. Now, if the governor did not believe in building the institution of government, if he did not believe that government is a continuum, would he have spent the resources building all this infrastructure? What I'm telling you, which is verifiable, Rufai of Arise came and so he was shocked. He couldn't utter a word. Go there and see for yourself. The two structures, it is not government house, the governor's lodge. And now I've told you, ordinarily we would have continued and complete the distance and build the way it should suit. It should be worthy of being called government house.
All right, I hear you.
We have sold all the lands around there. People built high-rise buildings. The security of the place is completely breached, and we cannot afford to pay billions.
We have less than 60 seconds to go, Mr. Ekeoma.
The government house. Get me.
I've gotten you. So we have less than 60 seconds. We have less than 60 seconds to go. Why do you want, Mr. Ekeoma, you've had your time on the program. Why do you want this structure to become a five-star hotel? That is one. And two, considering that Governor Alex Otti has now been using his private residence. When he leaves office, what is he handing over to the next person? Would he be ceding his private residence to Abia State government for the running of government affairs?
Okay, so when you come to Abia, I'm sure you will be speechless. And this is verifiable. People come to Abia and they become speechless because of what is happening in Abia. So it's even, it's not able to talk about it.
You have 30 seconds to quickly wrap this up.
Come to the state and see what is happening. The state is being transformed. Abia has become a reference point, courtesy of the excellent performance of Governor Alex Otti. He has rebuilt and is rebuilding many government institutions, building infrastructure. Okay, now we will build a government house. Of course, we will build it where we are at the moment. But like I said, it shouldn't have been a priority to this government, given the enormity of the liabilities left behind by the government. When people were being owed 32-month salary arrears inherited by Governor Alex Otti, were you expecting him to leave those things, and start building government house? It doesn't make any sense. So the most important thing, we are reclaiming the one where we are building structures there to, that will make the government house look like a government house. We are doing that. Nobody is telling you that the governor is conducting 100% of the activities of government in his private house. No, it's not.
Mr. Ekeoma, we really do need to go now.
and see for yourself.
We do need to go now. Special Advisor to Governor Alex Otti on Media and Publicity, Ferdinand Ekeoma. Thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you for having me.